the Board of Parks and Recreation meeting please come to order? Before we get started, first, my name is Hale. I'm the Deputy Director of the Department of Parks and Recreation, and welcome and mahalo for being here today. I am facilitating today's meeting only because you are pretty much new. Most of you are brand new board and half of you are nominees still. So this will be me facilitating, but I look forward to passing on that kuleana in future meetings. So before we start, I need to go over a few housekeeping items since the board is subject to the Sunshine Law and we are required to allow for public testimony at all meetings. Pursuant to section 92-3.7 Hawaii Revised Statutes, this meeting will be conducted as a remote meeting by interactive conference technology with the following procedures in effect for the meeting. Members of the public will be allowed to provide oral testimony on all items on the agenda in two ways, remotely and in person here in room 312 at Kapolei, Hale. Remote and in-person oral testimony will be allowed during item number 6 as listed on the agenda. Before testifying, each person shall state their name. Each speaker may not have anyone else read their statement and is limited to a 3-minute presentation on each item. When your name is called, please monitor your screen and activate your audio feed when prompted. I will then give persons who have not registered an opportunity to offer testimony. Please utilize the raise hand feature in Zoom to be called on. Once all the remote testifiers have testified, I will proceed to in-person testimony in this conference room. Persons who have not registered will be given an opportunity to speak following the oral testimonies of the registered speakers. Written testimonies, including the testifier's address, email address, and phone number, will be available to the public as described on the posted agenda. As a courtesy, please turn off or silence your cell phones. And let's get started. So, agenda item number 2, I will ask Director Laura Phelan to do some introductions.
I'm going to stand up just so I can see everybody. I did just get word that our 9th board member is joining us remotely, Mike Robinson. So he hopefully is on camera. 4 of you have recently gone through the confirmation process. We have one gentleman with us, Ricky, who is a holdover board member from the prior administration, and then 4 of you are nominees, which will go through this month's Parks Committee and then through the full confirmation process. So we have quorum, but there's not really any decision making going on today. So the nominees are just sitting here as members of the public, and it's an opportunity for us to meet face to face, except for Mike, and just go through the orientation. So there's not going to really be any decision making today. We will work with you in the interim between now and your next meeting to set the meeting, but also gather from you your ideas on the committee structure, you know, how you want to do that, have some suggestions for you. And then we will present at your next meeting options for your consideration. And then you will go through, when you've got the full board and the confirmations done, decision making on how you want to set up a chair, a vice chair, you know, committees or other things, and the frequency of meetings. So just for today, we're going to act as your MCs and hosts, and the staff has prepared a wonderful orientation for you, just what we thought you might need just to get a big picture overview of the department. We've worked in some time for you to have questions and answers in this as well. We know it's going to be a lot, so they did a lot of work preparing the binders for you so you can just take home everything, memorize it, and be ready for the test. That's what I was saying. We had wanted to have the mayor join us today to do a thank you and a welcome. He's very excited about this board. He knows a lot of you and is very aware of the reputations of those few who he hasn't met yet. And he wasn't able to make it today, and we were going to do a televised or remote, but our communications person we just sent over to Maui. He was the lead on that. So he's over helping Maui now, who I know we all want to support in every way that we can. So we haven't been able to do that, but fortunately we are being joined by our Parks Committee chair at the council. So several of you have already appeared in front of him, but I'd like to welcome our Parks Committee chair, Councilman Augie Tolo, to just say a few words.
Awesome. Thank you, Director. Look, I'm excited like the director and, all the conversations that we had so far, meeting on Zoom has been awesome. I love all your vision and I hope that we can honestly start doing some amazing things in our parks. And you guys know how important it is for me and what it does for our community and the growth for our children. So thank you guys. I look forward to lots, lots of good discussion on how we can activate our parks and get it going. Thank you.
Thank you.
So mahalo. So we're gonna move on to agenda item number 3. So we get to hear from you folks. We'd like you guys to please take a minute or two just to introduce yourselves and share a little bit about your background. I will start on my right.
Okay, sure. Hi, my name is Christy Nishita. I'm the director of the Center on Aging at UH Manoa. A lot of my research work anyway is in promoting active aging and age-friendly community building. And so that's where I've intersected with the city in the past, mostly with Elderly Affairs Division and working on some age-friendly community projects. So I'll always be a champion for the potential and possibility with aging in terms of seeing our older adults as, a resource and an asset and how they can give back to the community and how we can engage them better in our community as well.
Hello, everyone. My name is Katie Chang. I'm the Executive Director of Center for Tomorrow's Leaders. So the vast majority of our work is with public high schools. So in the communities surrounding a lot of the parks, I know a lot of our young people love summer fun, love participating with the parks. So this was a no-brainer, very honored to be here. I think one of the advantages that John, Carlin, as a nonprofit bring is we know what we love in a board member and our own board. And so I'm really hopeful that supporting the staff, the director, whatever it is that you hope and dream for, that we can help resource that and also bring feedback from the community, not just negative, but positive, and be able to advocate for you in all of the conversations that we have. So grateful for the opportunity and
Aloha, everyone. I'm Nikki Medwitz. I am the Public Affairs Director at Aulani, a Disney Resort and Spa over here in Ko'olina. Personally, I am a triathlete, and I'm very active, and I love just participating in a lot of different events around the islands, but also on the mainland. Really dedicated to living a healthy lifestyle. From my employer, I represent, one of our largest industries in Hawaii, tourism, but we're also a very large employer on the west side. We employ over 1,700 people at Aulani Resort, which means that we have this large contingency of family, people who we care for specifically at Aulani. And especially here on the west side. And so I want to be an advocate for our families here on the west side and make sure that they have opportunities and access to parks and recreation, just like everybody else on the island.
Hello, everyone. I'm John Leong. It's a real honor to be here with all of you, and thank you to Director and Deputy Director for having us, and to the great staff here at DBP and council members. Thank you for all that you guys do every single day. So it's a great honor to be able to support work that's being done at our parks. I'm a father of 4, which is probably my biggest reason why I think I should be here, because we are huge users of the park. Our families have appreciated the parks that we have here, and we know how important they are for our community, and the work that's being done on them is really important. On my day job, I've started a few organizations, but probably the one that's most relevant is our nonprofit Kupu. And Kupu works with young adults, engages them in paid service in the conservation and sustainability sectors. We also have a center in one of the parks in Kewalo Basin as well too. So we're very familiar with that park and the interaction between the public-private sector and how important that is. So we're really excited to be able to support however we can, and really grateful to serve. Thanks.
Hello, Mike Ako, Robert Medeiros. I am with the Commitment Schools in Strategy and Transformation, and a lot of my work is about partnership development to help advance and elevate educational programs and opportunities for learners in ways that engage families, also get them out of the schools or the classrooms on the AINA, and developing their social emotional well-being, cultural identity. I was very excited when I heard about this role because a lot of my lived experiences, both in Kailua and where I grew up in Hilo, intersected a lot with parks. Obviously from athletics, and parks and gyms and community leagues. A lot of the good work that goes on there helps to give kids the opportunity to grow, and not just grow as athletes, but as leaders and as contributors to their community. So very excited, still am excited to see how I can help support this effort, and yeah, how my lived and professional experiences can support this.
Aloha, everyone. My name is Carla Hauser. My apologies to the folks behind me. I'll keep my head on a swivel. Like my fellow board members, I'm really grateful to be here, really grateful for the opportunity to serve. My day job is I'm the executive director for RISE, which is Residential Youth Services and Empowerment. We work with young people ages 14 to 24 who are experiencing homelessness. I'm very aware of how homelessness affects our parks, our communities. And long time ago, I was a Parks and Rec kid myself. My first job when I was in college, I worked for the city of Long Beach, and then I went on, and I was just a recreation aide, played carom after school with the kids. So very familiar. And just grateful to be here, grateful to learn and to also share. So that's it.
Thanks, Carla. Hi, I'm Judith Stilgenbauer. I am a landscape architect and a professor in the School of Architecture at UH Manoa. I'm originally from Germany, but I've been in this country for almost 25 years. I came to UH 11 years ago from the Bay Area. I taught at UC Berkeley for 9 years before I came here. And the reason why I came to Hawaii, because UH was looking for someone who could help the state develop the first ever landscape architecture program. So that's what I've been doing, plus a lot of other things the last 11 years. We now have the program. It's very exciting. I run it with my fabulous colleagues. My work and my teaching and research and practice has to do with public open spaces, including parks. And landscape architects, of course, are the profession that is in the lead on designing parks. So it's what I've been doing for a long time. And more recently, the focus of my work really lies on how open spaces, including parks, can contribute to climate resilience and generally more resilient, both socially but also ecologically, urban spaces. So I'm also really grateful for the invitation, and it's a real pleasure meeting you all, and can't wait to hopefully contribute in meaningful ways.
Hi, I'm Rick Taniguchi. I'm currently the Chief Financial Officer of Sun Global Broadband, which is a Wi-Fi company. I have been a member for approximately 1 3/4 terms. So I believe my term expires at the end of this year. For the last 20 years, until about 2018, I was a managing director of the Honolulu Marathon, which includes the Honolulu Marathon, half marathon, and other events. So I was tasked with coordinating primarily through various city departments and Parks and Recreation being the focal point in terms of organizing the event and interfacing appropriately. I'm also, in the last 15 years, the last 4 of which, I'm the baseball commissioner of the Oahu Interscholastic League. So I am responsible for assigning umpires to all fields across the island. So I get feedback onto certain circumstances that are pertinent to a certain baseball and other playgrounds in other areas.
And then I believe we have Mike Robinson from Hawaii Pacific Health. He's our last, and he's a confirmed member. Mike, are you able to?
Yeah. Here you go. Apologies. Sorry I couldn't be there in person. I had a meeting right after in town after this one that I need to be at. So I'm Mike Robinson, Vice President of Community Affairs and Government Relations at Hawaii Pacific Health. And Hawaii Pacific Health is a nonprofit healthcare system comprised of Kapolei Medical Center, Palimomi, Straub and Wilcox on the other in Kauai. And just like everybody else, I'm really honored to be a part of this group. Many familiar faces on the board, and it's nice to be working alongside such good people. I think professionally, our mission at Hawaii Pacific Health is to create a healthier Hawaii. And if for me personally, public space is an integral component to wellness and health in our community. Personally, I've been a tennis league, which I didn't, from about a year ago, which I didn't even realize was a city program until I heard about it. And so it was just really kind of a nice fit between my personal interests as well and as a consumer of what the Department of Parks and Recreation puts out. I think we are probably one of the larger private employers. We have about 7,700 employees across Hawaii Pacific Health. So again, I think the opportunity to kind of move the needle with projects with the city and can kind of bring forward ideas and opportunities from an employer perspective, a nonprofit employer perspective, I think would be hopefully helpful, and look forward to working with all of you. Thank you.
Mahalo, Mike. Mahalo to all of you for your introductions. Very impressive backgrounds. Thank you. So we're going to move on to agenda item number 4. If you will open the binders in front of you, the first, the nice bright green index, we have just a handout about the board's roles and responsibilities. Mike, we'll get digital copies over to you. So we wanted to share this with you. Real brief description. This board is a volunteer board created to advise DPR on recreational, culture, and public entertainment opportunities at city parks and facilities. And the board was created per City Charter, Chapter 14, Section 6-1404, with members appointed by the mayor and approved by the Honolulu City Council. And so under that, we have language from the city charter. So 6-1404 is there, which establishes this board. And then section 13-103, which talks about structure of the board, terms, chair, vice chair, things like that. We won't go over them today, but I want to point this resource out to you so you can do some homework before the next board meeting. And then on the third page is just the not all inclusive, but a small list of some of the responsibilities or kuleana that we look forward to engaging or having you folks kokua and fulfill, assisting with establishing our budget priorities, strategic goals, reviewing progress reports, consulting and providing recommendations on programs and partnerships, making planning recommendations, reviewing guidelines, and making recommendations for maintenance. So we really do want to lean on this board to advise and guide and, provide your input and expertise to our department as we want to evolve and add quality to life. So please take some time when you folks can later to review this. And so since we have the binder in front of us, I'm going to ask Kim Revelia Collins just to kind of take you folks through it really quickly.
Just really quickly, just a few items of note. As we mentioned earlier, this board has been established, and therefore you're subject to Sunshine Law. So welcome to Sunshine Law 101. You'll have firsthand experiences regarding the Sunshine Law. If you just take a look, we do have an overview, a quick overview, but you're more than welcome to click onto the link that's provided to you so that you know what you can and cannot do. But basically, all meetings have to be agendized. No more than 2 people can, discussion of board business cannot be more than 2 people at a time. So if you had a budget item, the 2 of you can talk, but you cannot have serial communications. Again, please take a look at the link. It's very helpful. There's actually a 43-page document, kind of a cheat sheet you guys can go over. And the meetings are also subject to Robert Rules of Order. Also included on tab 4 is just a brief overview and introduction of the board of the park department. You can take a look at our organizational structure. You can take a look at our current budget that we're working on or working through. Our budget is million and some change. So just know that we have a large budget, operating budget. We have over 1,200 employees. And then the structure itself. And on page, we also have our performance metrics, of which our presentations really keep and focus and highlighted on, that will explain to you kind of how we came up with it and efforts the department as a whole is going through to meet these metrics. And then subsequent and the other tabs is an overview of each of our departments. So that's a quick overview of the contents of your binder. If you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer them. Sure.
So quick sunshine law. Can two or more of us be in a meeting not related to parks and not discussing parks related items?
Yes, there's no commitment for a vote. And I'm not sure what kind of action item or voting you are going to be doing as a board, but yes, just two of you. If you're meeting outside and happy to talk to each other, that's fine. But if it's a matter about us to say a budget proposal or something that we're discussing at the board, only two of you, and you kind of do a sequence, yeah. All right.
And we are gonna have representatives from our ethics commission do a presentation with you folks at our next board meeting. So this is for you. This is what we call a makana or a gift. So, cherish it, fill it up. But we're gonna move on. So we're gonna give you guys a nice overview too right now. We're gonna move on to agenda item number 5. We're gonna do a presentation. So I'm gonna ask you folks to. So, as Kim said, we just want to give you folks a presentation, a little bit of an overview of our department, our structure, and we're going to talk about our metrics and some of the areas that we're focusing in on as Department of Parks and Recreation. So we have our staff all lined up here, so it'll be an opportunity for you to see the different faces here from DPR. So to just start off, we want to share our department mission and model. So our mission is about enhancing the lifestyle and quality of life of our Oahu residents. And so we have a quick and very meaningful, this is what we strive to do every day. We add quality to life. So this is our department motto. So real quick overview, DPR, that's our acronym. We are responsible for the management of parks, recreation facilities, the botanical and community gardens, programs, and over 250,000 trees in our city streets and parks. So as Kim shared earlier, and as you'll see in your binder, we are comprised of 3 divisions. Our Park Maintenance and Recreation Services Division, which is our largest and which everybody knows and thinks of when they hear DPR. The Division of Urban Forestry. So this is where our gardens and our trees fall under. And then our Executive Services Division, which is our backbone or support for our division. Next slide for our department. This is a very simplified organizational structure. I say simplified because the boxes that you see, there's a lot of little boxes that fall under those, but you can see the Office of the Director, and then where this board falls. And then we have our Urban Forestry Division, and so under this division, under these branches, we have other divisions. Park Maintenance and Recreation Services, which is divided into 5 districts, and then our Executive Services Division. So an idea of what we manage, we manage almost 5,000 acres of land, on which over 400 parks sit on, beach right-of-ways throughout the island, pedestrian malls, that's an interesting one I thought when I first came on, so nature preserves, community gardens. So this is just a snapshot of what we manage in Malama here at DPR. We also manage many facilities, swimming pools, our comfort stations, the courts, fields, campgrounds, and, we even have a couple of skating rinks too, which I learned about just last year. We also manage many programs and events, island-wide, so some of which but this also, not everyone knows, these also fall under DPR. Summer Fun, which is well known, a lot of community workshop and events, both in parks, but also in our urban forestry division. This department is responsible for planning and carrying out Mayor's Memorial Day, held at Punch Bowl every year. Kapolei City Lights, Honolulu City Lights, so our urban forestry division harvests the Christmas trees that we see at our city light events, both here and in Honolulu. And our park staff take care of all the Christmas displays that we see. But we also manage emergency shelters. So again, this is not a complete list, but a snapshot of all that we do here in parks. So this is some data we have a National Recreation and Parks Association. It's a really great association that collects and shares lots of data, provides resources. They hold conferences every year. But this is some data that they collected, and it's based on serving 1,100 parks and recreation agencies across the nation. And on the left side are different responsibilities of those agencies and the percentage of agencies that carry out that kuleana or carry out these responsibilities. So you can see, operating parks and maintaining facilities, programming, we have higher percentages of agencies that do that. And then it starts to dwindle when we get down to beaches, campgrounds, farmers markets. And so the point of this is to show and to share that we check off all the boxes on this list. So parks does everything here. And just to give you guys an idea of, this would be just the facility. So this is a map that our program info officer put together. And lots of dots and colors. But this is just one snapshot of our parks, campgrounds, and our gardens. So it's not we have 3 other maps on our website that covers our fitness facilities, our fitness facilities, beach right-of-ways, and other things. So this is just an idea, to give you folks again an idea of the vast scope of work here that we have here in Parks and Rec. Thank you, Francis. So metrics. So every city department here, the City and County of Honolulu, every department is responsible for developing metrics. And these are 5-year metrics that are typically used to help prioritize budgeting. So you want to align, your budget basically with your goals, right, and objectives, what you're trying to achieve. And so I believe 2021 was when we were up to developing new metrics. And what, we were very intentional and took our time with developing these metrics and, thinking about how we wanted to strengthen our department, the work that we do, and the projects and initiatives that we want to carry out in order to continue to evolve and get better and be better. And so we have 5 metrics. We have a little bit more. You'll have the complete list in your binder. But what we want to do is share today. We're gonna share. You can go to the next slide. Just 4 focus areas, and these cover things that we have asked for in budget initiatives. These are current projects or just current work that we're already doing that we want to continue to do and to strengthen. And so this is where our staff will come in. They're going to share around these 4 areas. They're going to share what we're doing basically in these 4 areas. This is not the complete, it's not everything. We wouldn't have enough time in the day if we wanted to share everything. So we've chosen to just focus in on these 4 things. And so I'm happy to introduce our first presenter, Emily Perry from DUF, and she's gonna get us started with community engagement.
Hi, everyone. My name is Emily Perry. I'm with the Division of Urban Forestry, and I'm substituting for Nate Serta. As you heard, he's over on Maui, helping with communications over there. So I'm just going to go over the community engagement portion. So when we're thinking about parks, there are kind of two ways that communication is facilitated. In the broad way, which is Nate's role, and he's our public information officer. So he does stuff like social media, news inquiries, press conferences, public announcements, manages our websites and stuff like that. But that's only one aspect. So when we get into the more, and these are all of the social media engagement methods that we have throughout our department. So when we get into the more granular level, we look at the different programs that we have that involve community engagement. So two of them are shown here. The one on your left is the community gardens. And so community gardens is within the Division of Urban Forestry, and it includes 11 community gardens with over 1,200 plots island-wide and serving around 1,500 gardeners. And then recently through federal funding, we have kind of taken a reevaluation of the community gardens program and the Adopt a Parks program as well, and looked at how we can evaluate how we're managing our program for community engagement to create a all of Pukako, let's move forward together. And that really focuses on recognizing there's a demand where the community members want to engage with our parks in a more meaningful way. And so seeing how we can work with the programs we have to improve that and work with the community in ways that they want to engage with our parks. And on the right-hand side is the Adopt a Park program. And this is, traditionally it's been a 2-year agreement where volunteer organizations, individuals can come in and clean up graffiti, pick up litter, stuff like that. And in the all the Pukako that I mentioned, we're looking at things such as planting and taking care of trees and stuff like that as an alternative way that we're seeing a lot of community members want to engage with our parks as well. A couple other programs that we have that engage with our community members is the community forestry program, which is my Kuleana. And that focuses on really bridging the gap between the city parks and our trees. So the city manages trees along city right-of-ways in the streets, as well as in city parks, of course. And so our overall goal is to increase canopy island-wide. And we try and do that by just sharing about the benefits of trees, engaging through events and stuff like that, as well as building partnerships with organizations that are already doing that and supporting or growing our urban tree canopy in private spaces as well. Because as we know, it's not just within their city parks, but across all these jurisdictions, right, to increase canopy to help with heat, stormwater filtration, stuff like that. Another aspect of parks engagement is with our park rangers and permitting office, and I'm going to pass it off to Bryce to talk about that.
Yeah. So aloha, I'm Bryce Okamoto. I'm the manager of the permits office. I also oversee the park ranger assessment project. So the Park Ranger Assessment Project is a surveying and fact-finding project that supports DPR's goal of addressing and managing park issues. So given the time and resource constraints, the focus has primarily been on unauthorized commercial activities and will expand as we get more information. Some of the main objectives include encouraging voluntary compliance with park rules and regulations, measuring the effectiveness of education as a deterrent, as well as looking at different components for the Park Ranger program to see how we can move it forward. The information gathered through this project will be essential towards those program recommendations, which will be highlighted in a report, hopefully by fall of next year. So the permits office as well engages with the community quite often. We help the community by accepting park use applications and processing permits with payment for usage of gyms, fields, meeting rooms, and courts. This includes things like small events, so that could be like a picnic, family gather, they come to the park, have a barbecue, all the way to our very large event, Shady Wind Lantern Festival, all the way to the big wave with the Eddie Call Invitational. Now, those big or large events could have upwards of 50,000 participants and spectators, and it requires a lot of interagency and private coordination, which our office also helps with. We also facilitate the department's camping system for 218 campsites at 17 campgrounds. The online camping system is expected to be upgraded next month. Last year, DPR processed 11,753 park use permits and 8,776 camping permits. So as you can tell, there's a lot of usage of our parks. So I will now hand it back over to Emily, who will do the rest of the community.
Thank you, Bryce, for that. And then also, in addition to the organized community programs we have, we always look for other ways for the public to engage in with our parks and activate our spaces. And that can include community donations, whether it's in the form of murals, as you can see, there's a handful here, or if it's in donation in terms of supplies, professional services, so forth. We also have a variety of nonprofits with dedicated volunteer programs, as well as organizations that contribute financially, and that goes hand in hand with our relationship with the city council as the gift receivable process goes through that. Next, I would like to introduce Sharon Tomita with our Parks Maintenance and Recreation Services to share about some of our programs.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Sharon Tomita. I'm a recreation specialist with the department, speaking on community programs. And we speak to the mission to increase the quality of DPR programming and increase the quantity of Oahu residents served by our programs. We started out on a mission or a journey to look at changing or shifting from activity-based programming to outcome-based programming. And this would allow us to articulate and be intentional in our programming to be able to get to where we want to be. And so we had 3 program outcomes that we're very proud of. The first being health and wellness, right? Increasing habits that support healthy minds, bodies, hearts, and spirits. The second being sense of place and community, right? Increasing connection to home, park, and community. And then the third of leadership. In our leadership, it is to grow and hone skills from Keiki to Kupuna, right? To give opportunities for us to have participants learn about themselves, bring out their own leadership skills, and someday then become the leaders like you at the table, right? With leadership, we are proud to say that in our working with youth, every summer through our summer fun program, we do engage over 9,000 youth. From our kindergarteners on up to our young adults who are our leaders, our senior leaders, and then again to our new staff, our recreation directors. And some of them have even become administrators. We're going back, we create an Ohana culture within the summer fun program, and that is what we try and build through patience, dedication, and love. So we plant seeds within our programs of, again, opening opportunities where kids can learn skills and hone skills that sooner or later will then hopefully allow them to become the leaders of tomorrow. And we've seen many of our people go through our programs. We've had many young people go through our programs who have become community advocates, have become, leaders in the community, and some of them have even become elected officials. So the other thing that this allows us to do is to create a pipeline for our leadership and for our programs. If we can then have participants learn and grow, then they become the leaders and our programs grow, and we don't have to worry about where our leadership is going to come from. We own it. So that's the third one. I am going to turn it over to Jocelyn Sand. She is the director of Honolulu Botanical Gardens.
So nice to meet all of you. Yeah, welcome. My name is Jocelyn Sand. Everybody calls me Josh, and I'm the director with Honolulu Botanical Gardens. We are so fortunate to steward 5 unique botanical gardens across the island of Oahu, and 11 community gardens under the Division of Urban Forestry. As Kay Howe and Sharon already touched on, our metrics are also woven into our programs that we offer. We have 3 program calendars that we offer every year: a spring classes and workshops, summer, and then a fall/winter program calendar. And they are designed to be outcome-based as well. And we are trying to encourage community building through a sense of place and wellness, and connecting people to nature and each other while they're at the garden. I brought you a little sample menu here from just a few of our calendars to illustrate how our programs are done, not just for community, but actually done with community. We do collaborations throughout the year, and that allows us to add dimension to our program calendar, capture additional resources, and deliver what just wouldn't be possible with our limited staff and resources alone. So looking at our little Instagram thumbnails here, our preschool nature hour, that's done every week at Ho'omaluhia. We may have a children's author come in and read a book. We may have Kapuna teach some lauhala weeding, or we may have our in-house staff do a craft activity. Saving Ohia, that was actually a film viewing of the film that was done by UH. And before the film viewing, we had a little workshop on ohia, how to grow it, why it's culturally important, threats against this iconic keystone plant that are going on right now. Meditation, a lot of meditation and wellness classes in the garden. This meditation class was at Foster, and it was completely done by the Tao Academy. Came in and did it for us. Our stream cleanup, you can see the picture there, that we're fortunate in Liliuokalani Botanical Garden across from Foster, we have the Nu'uanu stream come down. And that's why Honolulu Falls. And we have to, clean that regularly, and it's a great opportunity. Sometimes we do the cleanup, sometimes it's 808 cleanup, sometimes it's a private corporation that has to do some leadership or some community give back. Or it's often done by a high school group that has to do learning service, and they'll design a whole project around it, maybe plant some native plants and do some educational aspects when they do the stream. So that's an ongoing opportunity. Lei Po'o could be our staff, or it could be a guest lecturer. And this photography walk, photography is very popular in the garden. We just opened at Foster Garden after being closed for some time, and literally everyone who came that day had a camera in their hand. It was really kind of funny. And it's kind of a solitary hobby. But with this one, our photography walks, you can walk around with Eyes of Hawaii and walk around with a photography club, and you have like 10 teachers at your disposal. So in addition to these classes, we have special events. Many of you may have come to our Midsummer Night's Gleam at Foster Garden, and that is only made possible through the imagination of literally hundreds of volunteers in a dozen community groups. Our Twilight Summer Concert is brought to you by the Friends of Honolulu Botanical Gardens, who bring other events like plant sales and our Living History play, and also manage our Foster Garden gift shop for us. And our community programs also extend into the recreational community garden program. We offer 11 community gardens across the island. It started in 1975 in Makiki. This is a pioneering community managed program. The community actually manages it. We only have one community garden coordinator for all 11. And we offer affordable, not just affordable gardening opportunities, but it's a sense to belong to a community. Everybody who belongs to a community garden has a sense of ownership and a sense of belonging when they go to gardening. It's about much more than vegetables in the end. And we are right now engaging in a restructuring of this. We have this, I think Emily mentioned, our E'ala Pūkapo program is looking at all of our community community managed initiatives. And this is a really high demand program. We have wait lists at all 11 of our gardens, and we're trying to not only strengthen our existing program, but create a roadmap for a sustainable future by working with different models and different ways of delivering this really popular service. And I think that is it. I just want to say thank you. I really look forward to hearing all your ideas and working with you on solutions. And I just thank you for your service to DPR and to the communities we serve. And I will now introduce Kim Collins, our Executive Services Administrator, who's going to talk about capacity building and career opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. As mentioned, through our matrix, we have capacity building and career opportunities. And we worked on identifying specific actions within the department to address the need to support our existing staff. So we have focus on training opportunities, advancement opportunities, and developing pathways and partnerships and opportunities. So, for example, we'll go to the next slide, sorry. For training opportunities, prior to fiscal year 23, DPR did not have any shared training approach for staff. It was really a few mandatory training requirements that existed for management. It was established by the Department of Human Resources, and that's the type of training that they received. But since the establishments of our matrix, DP administration required all division supervisors and employees who are interested or have potential and promotional opportunities to enroll in management training classes provided by THR as well as other professional organizations. All management and supervisors receive training on the development and creation of the department's operating and capital improvement budgets that had not occurred prior to that. Executive Services Division provide training on how to conduct successful performance reviews and how to conduct investigations. Recreational staff participated in recreation refresh training, which is designed to provide collaborative and comprehensive and recreation enriched programs. And DPR staff participates in professional and industry-related organizations. We participate in conferences, and we also receive trade-related certifications and credentials. For example, DUF staff received certification from the International Society of Arboriculture, which is they receive certified tree worker, aerial lift specialist, certified arborists, ISA tree risk assessment qualification. They received the State Department of Agricultural certified pesticide applicators. And then we also certify and train our employees with commercial driver's license class A certification. So we do a lot to support our staff, and they're highly qualified and very skilled. For next slide, for the advancement opportunities, we recognize that temporary assignments within our divisions is a great opportunity for staff to gain experience and knowledge of positions when a person is on vacation or there's a vacancy. That's a great opportunity for different staff to experience what it is and to gain the knowledge and experience of a higher level position. We also encourage internal promotion opportunities and recruit staff from within. And for our Division of Urban Forestry, again, we talked about the certified pesticide applicator training program, certified tree worker and arborist training. And we also recognize the need for advancement and opportunities within, because unfortunately, the reality is we have vacancies within our department. So we have as of July 1st, we have over 189 vacancies. We have 751 positions that are filled, and we have approximately 940 civil service positions. So we have a large vacancy rate, but however, we've done really well in meeting the mayor's initiative of hiring initiative. And of last year, fiscal year, we hired 90 people. We had about 66 separations and retirements, and we have a net gain of 24 employees. So we did a really good job. It was a collective effort by my office, which I wasn't here. I'm only 45 days into the job. But staff and other divisions all partnered together, and they did a really good job. And actually, we're kind of the model for the rest of the city. There was another division, but they were maybe 20 people That's that's a good thing. But we continue making strides in really pushing hard through our job training to promote within, because we recognize the value of our staff, but we're always recruiting. Whenever we're out, we're always looking for people. And then next, our pathways and partnerships. We have internships with Vista and City's Ho'okela internship program as a way to, as we mentioned before, to foster our existing relationships within the city and with people. We also have looked to our existing resources and assets, as mentioned, our summer fund programs and our senior groups to help them either provide employment. I'll be more specific, our PMRS administrator and our deputy administrator were former summer fund aides and leaders. So they went through the whole system. Actually, there's several people in PMRS that have now management roles. We continue to partner with international, state, and local organizations, such as the Landscape Industry Council of Hawaii and University of Manoa to help with opportunities for career advancements. And also we touched earlier about community forestry program, which provides outreach opportunities to the at community events. So we really look forward. I mean, we really value our employees. We have created an opportunity for advancement within our division, but we also recognize that we have great partnerships outside through all the programs that we provide as a way to entice people in careers through parks. And we cover such a variety of jobs and trades that there's a lot of opportunity. Next, we have Mr. Bob Sinclair. He's from the Maintenance Support Services. He's going to provide an overview of our next matrix, which is maintaining public lands and assets.
Good afternoon. I'm here to talk to you about maintaining public lands and assets. My name is Bob Sinclair. I work for Maintenance Support Services. It's a division of PMRS. Our focus is to maintain and keep parks safe. Now, how the maintenance works is the item is divided into 5 districts, and of these 5 districts, they have what they call a BMR, building maintenance repairer, and they're basically a handyman, a jack of all trades. And if it's if it's above their head and cannot do the repairs, it comes to us at maintenance support. Maintenance support is a pretty large section. It includes small engines, the plumbing department, carpentry, mason, painting, welding, chemical treatment, heavy equipment, and night beach cleaning. Since 2015, Kaho for Parks has replaced 28 play apparatuses, refurbished 127 play apparatuses, 160 comfort station renovations, resurfaced play courts, 636 courts in 163 parks, and lined pickleballs, 191 courts in 95 parks. Last but not least, MSS has a work program, and what this does is it contracts work out to make it a little more efficient. The contract works out, and last fiscal 2023, MSS received 8.5 million. In that 8 million, there was 4 baseball backstop in parks, 9 parks in fencing, numerous 17 asphalt renovations, gym bleachers, 12 parks re-roofed. In the work program right now, currently we have fencing, asphalt, painting, roofing, and basketball backboards. Pending is pressure washing, concrete resurfacing, gym floors, resilient surfaces, and athletic base. With that, I would like to introduce my colleague, Justin Rickard, to tell you a little bit more about it.
Hello, my name is Justin Rickard, and I work with the Honolulu Botanical Gardens. I'll be sharing our department's daily maintenance, training efforts, and current and future efforts. So the department cleans and maintains comfort stations, parking lots, pathways, empties trash receptacles, and removes graffiti. We also perform landscape maintenance, which includes mowing, trimming, aerating, fertilizing, hedge trimming, irrigation repairs, tree planting, early tree care, tree pruning, palm trimming, and tree removals. We also maintain swimming pools, which includes checking water chemistry, monitoring pumps, and water circulation. The department conducts regular inspections of its facilities, grounds, and landscape, botanical garden collections, and tree and palm inventories. We also perform project inspections with the Department of Design and Construction and other agencies for our parks, new subdivision tree installations, and tree preservation. In regards to training, which was mentioned earlier by Kim, we conduct on-the-job training, attend city training programs, and also attend industry-related workshops, seminars, conferences. Current future efforts and asset management programs. DPR is working on developing 2 asset management programs. One is our tree management software, which could help in planning maintenance programs for preventative maintenance, long-term planning for climate change to prioritize projects, and planning for future parks in upcoming communities like Ho'opili and Koa Ridge. The second is the DPR asset management database for all of its physical improvements in parks such as buildings, courts, and lighting. NORESCO was a great energy saving project that started in December of 2021. It included energy improvements in our parks and gardens through water conservation measures, plumbing and irrigation, energy conservation through LED on building and play courts, and various other modifications that will improve energy savings over the next 20 years. In regards to developing of underutilized areas, the department plans to convert existing play courts to pickleball courts and establish more off-leash dog parks. The maintenance manual, the department is developing our maintenance manual to create a standardized program for training and inspection of parks. We are also working with the Department of Design and Construction on specifications and standards for landscape and irrigation installation and maintenance during construction. And I'll turn it back over to our Deputy Director.
I'm gonna conclude from here if that's okay. So just going back to our metrics, which is, you know, what we're anchoring or aligning all of the work that we've shared with you folks, both current and existing work that's happening, areas where we are trying to strengthen, where we want to be able to shine and boast a little bit, but also, you know, we hope that you folks see where yourselves in this work and how you can be a support to our department. So that concludes our presentation. You do have a copy of the presentation and the metrics in your binder, as well as sort of our report card this past fiscal year 2023. So we do have to report on our metrics. We have set benchmarks, and so you have a copy of that as well, our complete list of metrics. But at this time, you go to the next cute, pretty slide. We'd like to ask if the board, if any of you have any questions for us, for our staff, or for Laura.
Mr. Ryan, fiscal year is from, is it July?
To June, yes. July 1st to June 30th.
And if someone wanted to support the work that the Parks is doing, is there a way to give to the parks? There's like a Friends of the Parks or anything like that that can receive like donations or support?
So currently we're in fiscal year 2024. I always get confused, but it'll start July 1, it runs to June 30th. And so so we're currently in fiscal year 24. That's just for when the city is going to allocate tax funding and tax revenues to departments for their annual operating budget. But year-round, the department does gratefully accept gifts or donations or works with people on projects that's outside the budget. Sometimes they may require us to be providing in-kind partnership with them for things that are going to be going in. We can't give an organization money, but sometimes, we're coming to the place with them and we're working together, and we just do that out of our base operating funds. But then if people do want to do a donation, we go in front of the city council under city ordinance, because the council has to accept the donation, and then we can implement it. And so that's true for a donation that's in kind, like the murals that you see, that will go through the same type of process. We do not have a Friends of Parks. The Botanical Gardens does have a Friends of Honolulu Botanical Gardens. And I know at least, some people have talked with us about being interested in setting something up on a Friends of organization.
When it goes through the city council, can a monetary or in-kind donation be tax deductible?
That's a good question.
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Question. First of all, I didn't know a lot of this. My initial reaction is just very impressed, even with the number of acres and everything else. I had a question for both of you as leaders. Can you editorialize a little bit on this, things that you're excited about, but also where your priorities are? Because I think that'd be helpful for us to know.
Yes. Did you say me first or you say? When I came on in, I was very focused on the places and the land, but as the staff was taking me around and introducing me, I realized that the programming and that the people in the department do is equally, if not more important. And because that's not my area of strength, we brought Hale in as the deputy director because she does come from a programming background. And so we've kind of divided the labor a little bit between us, although there's a lot of overlap. Some of the areas that I've worked with on the maintenance side and improvement side, we've been able to get support from the city to develop master agreements and then bring in a lot of federal funding to combine with city funding to do a lot of improvements around the parks. And so Bob was talking earlier about that, 8.5 million, much of that was in federal grants that we got to do a lot of improvements. We rely on a separate department to handle the large capital improvements, but we'd like to build up our ability to do minor capital improvements, as well as the large scale repair and maintenance that we're doing. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there. I'm sorry, but both of our urban forestry administrator and our parks administrator are away right now. So you did not have a chance to meet them, but Christine, who's the parks administrator, is working with re-describing some internal vacant positions to set up a groundskeeping support system with a maintenance manual and inspections. So she's just coming back from director's camp with the national organization and has been making a lot of contacts with other park departments that have similar things in place. So I think creating those kinds of structures, the physical asset management system, it kind of, people here have been working very hard, but they haven't had the resources to add in that professional level of, the database and the other things to help us. And I think that side is going to make a big difference over time. But on the recreation side, I think Hale's been doing some really exciting work.
So like Laura said, she did bring me on to help focus on the programming side, the recreation programs. You guys saw we impact like how many students we serve annually. And so that's an area where I've been trying to focus. So moving from, being activity-based to outcome-based. And so a lot of those outcomes are aligned to Nahopena'a'o also intentionally. We've been working on training staff, working with staff to do backwards design, so to start with the outcomes in mind. And a lot of it is just, we're serving so many Keiki youth. Our world is constantly changing, and we wanna have impact, and we wanna help to develop, leaders for our future leaders. you know, some other, so we have, we did a vision and mission development process with our recreation staff. So that's a whole other, like I said, this wasn't a full comprehensive presentation, but so there's some work that's been done around that, and what we call our recreation refresh plan, which has some, you know, we have some goals embedded in there, focus on things like training, having monitoring and evaluation, just to be able to, you know, look at how do we continuously improve, and to be able to articulate, you know, the impacts that we're having. There's some other areas that we want to work on, like strengthening our operating procedures and, you know, looking at safety and policies and things like that. So that's I guess my passion project there. The other thing though that for me is Laura talks a lot about it, but I don't know if you just mentioned it, is equity, you know, across the island. So I live on the west side. I'm a Leeward resident, and so, and I'm also a neighborhood board rep. I'm the mayor's rep on the Eva neighborhood board. And so, you know, one of the things that we want to do is create better equity, and equity doesn't mean equal. You know, for this side of the island, I believe District 4. So Laura talks a lot about how we don't have any swimming pools or anything on the windward side, this side of the island. So we really, I think that's for me something that I hope to be able to contribute to and support, is how do we yeah, I don't know, how do we even it out or continue to provide more resources in the communities that are maybe growing, especially here on this side. Kapolei, Eva has grown, but the resources, the facilities to support the communities haven't necessarily grown with it.
I have a quick question related to the, I think it was 189 vacancies that I circled that in my notes, and I know you mentioned separations and retirements, but I was curious, are those, that's a large number, and is that because you cannot find candidates, or is it because those positions are not fund, is it a funding question, or are those funded positions that you just can't fit it?
They're funded positions, and this mayor has made it a priority citywide to hire. The hiring process for a large city, it's time consuming, and they brought on people to help reduce that time. So we've moved over the last 6 months through a lot of very hard work with our HR staff and our clerks, from being one of the slower departments to the fastest. There is a lot of a generational change going on in Hawaii though, and just nationally with the baby boomers retiring. And we do have people, because we help people advance, you know, people may come through here and in a number of years, you don't get their driver training and other things, and then move on to other jobs, sometimes with the city, where they can receive higher pay, or out in the private sector. So I think I've been pretty shameless with the number of you in saying we're recruiting you because we think you can both help our programs, but also that we can become a source for the youth that you are training and developing to come and work for us. Because we're a great place to work.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board for us? None. We're gonna move on to agenda item number 6. We will now proceed to public testimony. Oh, okay, no more, none. Yep, so no public testimony, no remote testimony. Any registered for here in person? Okay, anyone here who would like to ask a question or provide any testimony? Okay. Well then, we're gonna move on to the last item on the agenda, which is item number 7, selection of time and place of next meeting. So we will work with you folks. We are looking at October for the next board meeting. This Wednesday, our remaining 4 members, you folks will be coming to the Parks Board meeting led by Councilman Talba here. So we'll start your confirmation process. So the hope is that everyone will be confirmed, and be a full board. So we're looking at October. As Laura shared earlier, we may be looking at in the future hybrid options. I think we're gonna try and look for a location somewhere in town for the next meeting. But as she shared earlier, you know, we can talk about structure. The board roles and responsibilities are there. It talks a little bit about having a chair and vice chair. And, you know, you folks can think about committees and at that next meeting, perhaps come with ideas and some decisions.
Like, what we'll do in between now and that meeting, Dori Amano Mitsui, who's my executive assistant, you know, she's probably reached out to some of you already, but we'll be talking with you to get your thoughts on how you would like to see the board set up. Share thoughts that we have with you. One thing I would like to say is rather than having, we know you folks are busy and not that you would necessarily come up with this idea, but rather than having dozens of committees or narrow subject matters, because we're going kind of to the same well every time, you know, as far as our staffing goes, as who would be there. We'd like to maybe have, you know, 3 committees that's around subject matters that cross the divisions. So for example, if we want to talk about programming and the types of programming that we're doing, that you heard that's in botanical gardens, that's in the park department section area as well. If we want to talk about career opportunities and the things like that, you know, that would again cross all the divisions rather than setting up committees that are along the lines of our subject matter divisions, because we're trying to work more across divisional within our department. It's more efficient. You know, it's a better use of our talents and our skills. But ultimately, you folks are going to be the ones that make the decisions, since you're the board members, about how you would like it set up. So part of the conversation with Dory will be get your thoughts on what your preferences are, and then we'll present that to you folks, and then next meeting will be more you guys having that conversation about how you want to set it up. If we have the people are confirmed, you can actually vote on that structure, and then we can have subsequent meetings be moving forward with that structure.
Any other questions before we close?
Yes, I would like to, I know it's a little bit out of order, but I would like some issues or where I can address an agenda item be discussed at a meeting. Because, you know, I have quite a bit of concern. My specific application is because of the baseball community, and there needs to be a better coordination among both the parks and private businesses and stuff, because I guess many of the parks, the better managed parks, are actually maintained by private organizations. And recently, for example, there's been a monstrous contention with, you know, collegiate level using parks like HPU. And then now Chaminade is doing a collegiate program that will take ROI. And that is taking drastic resources away from the public. So I think if we could take a look at that and get a better philosophy or guidelines on how this works and how we can share both among the public. You know, baseball is a very, very big thing in Hawaii. You can see every day you turn on the TV, one of our youth teams wins a national team. But that doesn't come without extensive practicing on the fields. And, you know, I've had teams come at 5:30 to practice till they can't see the ball. And there has to be a better organization and a working relationship, particularly with the private partner. You know, every place else, a college team has their own field, and they're not using public resources.
So ultimately, the board is going to be the one to set up the agenda. So we just set this first one up as the orientation. But I think that's a fair point in figuring out how we would be communicating with board members about what information comes in here, so that you guys would have an understanding and then be able to identify things to add into the agenda. And clearly, there's going to be a lot of public members that are going to be reaching out to you too as well for items on the agenda. And we can work with you on how to place items onto an agenda that meets the sunshine law that allows people to bring forward topics, which maybe you can't make a decision on in that meeting because it may not have enough specific information, but at least it gives a time during the board meeting for people to raise topics, and then you can put it on the agenda for the next meeting for decision making. So we can work with you folks on that type of process.
Any last thoughts? If not, there being no further business, this meeting is adjourned. Mahalo nui to all of you, and we look forward to working with all of you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.